joining me is former Hereford United goalkeeper Scott Cooksey. So Scott, you joined Hereford early in the year 2000 on loan from Shrewsbury. You played at Edgar Street for Hednesford, but what did you know about Hereford United?
When I was at Peterborough, I came on loan quietly back in the 94-95 season when Chris McKenzie and Tony Pennock was there. And I sort of came on loan and wasn't really an official loan. I was there 2 weeks and then I returned to Peterborough because I was recalled in terms of back to the first team. So I knew a lot about Hereford in terms of the fans, what the club was about and the history. And obviously Graham Turner at the time of moving to Hereford from Shrewsbury was a big pull because he'd been speaking to me for a while.
What was Graham Turner like as a manager?
Oh, for me, he was brilliant. He allowed me to play. He inspired me, gave me the confidence, and as a senior player in the dressing room at that particular time, even though I was like 28, 29, he sort of relied on me to support the younger players and just allowed me to get on with my job, and it just gave me so much confidence. And obviously he confided me in one or two things and asked for my opinion, and I gave it him. And to be fair, probably in my career the most influential manager that I had, because I felt at home at Hereford. I loved the place, and obviously the circumstances didn't allow me to fulfil my potential really at Hereford. I know I played 70 odd games, but I felt there was unfinished business really, and it just cut short prematurely. But I loved every single minute. The fans were fantastic. The people involved in the football club were fantastic, and obviously my teammates were just superb. We had a brilliant time.
You subsequently signed a 2-year deal at the start of the 2000-2001 season. You had a great run. I think you had the record for the amount of clean sheets, didn't you?
Yeah. Very proud of that. Very honoured. I mean, obviously, it wasn't just down to me. It was organisation, the defence in front of me. Tony James, Ian Wright, Chris Lane, Paul Sturgis, and Matt Clark. Between the five of them in and out rotation. It was brilliant. I mean, I'd like to think I'd kept more clean sheets than any top goal scorer in that period of time during my spell, which was just an honour, really. I think it was 10, I'm not sure if it was 10 consecutive clean sheets on the bounce. Even when we played well in at home, I mean, I made a bit of a rick with one of the goals, and the supporters were just brilliant. I was that down at that particular time when the ball in the back of the net. I remember Graham come into the changing room and obviously started blaming everybody else other than me. And it was my fault, 100% my fault in that particular game. And even then, he put his arm around me and blamed everybody else. And I got a bit of stick from that, the gaffer's son and all the rest of it. But no, 100%. The team, my teammates were brilliant. John Snape in front as well, screening the defence from midfield. It was a good time, good players, and very fortunate to play in a team that had a good set of defensive-minded players at that time. Very dangerous on the counter-attack.
What's your memories of the FA Trophy match against Burton that was live on Sky?
It's a long time now. I just remember playing against a few teammates, a few colleagues that I played with at Derby as a youngster. I remember the penalty taker as a young kid, and I knew where he'd put penalties anyway. I mean, to be quite frank, it wasn't a great penalty, but I went the right way because I knew where he'd like to put it. For me, a penalty is a free shot at goal should be scored every time. And, I'd like to think I had a good penalty record for Hereford as well. I'd like saving penalties left, right and centre, something that I was able to do more consistently in my game. But yeah, it was I just remember the game, the crowd, it was a buzz, the place was buzzing, it was on the television. There was an expectation that we would do well. Obviously, Burton at that particular point were in the lower league doing well under Nigel Clough. And I just felt we dominated the game, and I think 1-0 flattered them, really, if I'm honest. And the rest is history. I say the penalty we went on, and I think Rob Elms scored. It could have been more, but I think it was comfortable. Fantastic, as a non-league player, you wanted to win the trophy, the FA trophy. And at that particular time, I felt we could do it.
So we got on to Forest Green in the semi-finals. It was 2-2 at the Lawn, but we were defeated 4-1 at Edgar Street. What happened that afternoon?
To be quite frank, I just felt Forest Green came at us with everything they had. They had nothing to lose. They were down the bottom of the conference at that time, in the bottom three. I felt that we I won't say we didn't take it too seriously or we were a bit cocky, but I would certainly feel that confidence was high, and perhaps we didn't take the game away from home as seriously as we should have. And I think that in itself, I felt we could have done better. Personally, I thought I had a good game, but I also had a mixed game in terms of things flying into the box. I felt I could have done a little bit better with a couple of things, not necessarily for the goals, but my own game. So I felt that I had a little bit of something to prove. Nigel Spink, Tony Daly, Frankie Bennett, and at home, they just hit us with sucker punches, and I think the way they came at us knocked the stuffing out of us. And at 4-0, I think we were just not at the races that day. And I just remember crying. One thing I wanted to do in my career was win the FA trophy, and I felt this was the moment to do it with Hereford, and it just wasn't to be. And I just remember coming off, just collapsing in a heap. I'd given everything I possibly could, in that particular game. I know Matty Clark had as well. We were just inconsolable in the changing room. It was just devastation, if I'm honest, at that particular time. We felt as though we could have done something special for the club and the fans, and it just did not happen on that day. And to be fair, Forest Green just run us over like a steamroller, and that was the end of it.
That summer you underwent a routine operation which went horribly wrong. Can you talk us through what happened?
It's one of those moments in my career where I had an injection sort of March, April time. I come back from England duty and it had flared up, and it was just that when I was catching the ball, something wasn't right. It shot pain down my sort of funny bone sort of area, side of my arm, and it just wasn't right. It was painful. And I had an injection, and the surgeon said it might be the best that we just have a quick look and clean and tidy up. And that's exactly what it was. And I think in hindsight, maybe I should have not had the operation and just rested it. Because I went in, routine operation, and I got an infection from that operation, from the operating table. There was no other place I could have got it, and it just destroyed the bone surface on the metacarpals in my wrist. And it just took forever and ever to heal. And I think when I went to Lily Shore sort of September time, it just wasn't happening. I remember it was September the 11th, so I was there, and obviously the Twin Towers stuff happened. I was watching it, and I was just thinking to myself, my hand isn't right. I had extensive physio after that. I sort of got to November, December, and it was still sort of no better, and it was painful. I had to wear a cast. And I think at that particular point, your heart wants to carry on, and my head hadn't kicked in actually. I'm in trouble here. And then I think I got to the February, managed to get back training. It wasn't right. It was just a decision I had to make. I went back to see the specialist and said I needed another operation. My contract was out. I would have been out 6 to 8 months following the operation. And Graham wouldn't have taken me on, obviously, because at that particular time I was on a decent contract. The money would have been worth spent elsewhere. And I just came to the decision that, I think it's time to call it a day, and we move forward in the best interest of everybody, really. And that's really the sorry end. And I know I had a lot of support. I loved every single minute, and I miss it. I miss playing for Hereford. And I do believe that I would have stayed there forever, if I'm honest. I just love the place. It just never happened for me to carry that on. And obviously predecessors came in and did really well, which I'm really pleased for the football club at that particular time, getting back into the league and everything else.